Hello, everyone, and welcome to LeadHERship Global. I am so excited to welcome all of you in today's program, where we have the honor and pleasure of welcoming Dr. Suzanne Castle. Today, we're going to talk about her keynote at the Women's Wealth Symposium coming up this March 8th in celebration of International Women's Day. But before we dive in, let me tell you just a little bit about Suzanne. She is absolutely a rock star. She's an award-winning keynote speaker, a dynamic business strategist, a transformational coach known for helping ambitious women break through barriers to build extraordinary lives and businesses. She's been recently honored with a Stevie Award at the Women's Business Coach of the Year award ceremony in New York City. And Suzanne has been recognized among the top 10 most inspirational women in Tarrant County and received an influencer award from the International Association of Women. Oh my gosh, if that's not enough, her impactful work and inspiring presence have earned her features on Apple TV, Roku, Amazon Fire, and Zondra TV. Now, one of the things that I find incredibly fascinating about my friend Suzanne Castle is that she was a former professional entertainer. She captivates audiences with her engaging delivery, her unique blend of creativity and strategy, and her signature sparkle factor framework. I have had the good fortune, the incredible good luck to actually be with Suzanne during her Verve retreat, and her Verve workshop and retreat is absolutely amazing. Through her workshops, her coaching, her keynotes, she empowers women to move boldly forward and unlock their full potential with actionable insights and a dash of sparkle. And she is all the things. I mean, everything good I could say about an inspirational, motivational speaker, mentor, coach, Suzanne, and all those things and more. Please help me welcome the one, the only Suzanne Castle. Suzanne, we are so excited to have you with us today in the LeadHERship Global podcast. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you, Linda. I don't know how you sleuth all those things out, but you are so kind and so generous. I'm so excited for this event. I cannot even tell you. Thank you for bringing together powerhouses, for having me in the room. I can't wait to soak up strategy and learn and collaborate to help women move forward. Let's close that wealth gap.
I love that, Suzanne. And that's one of the things that makes you so extraordinary as a leader, is that you're also a lifetime learner. You are always absorbing information and sharing that knowledge incredibly generously with all those people that rely on you to help provide strategy and coaching and insight. It's absolutely amazing to see a leader embrace lifetime learning the way you do. But tell us a little bit about your journey. What's led you to have such passion around helping women leaders really feel empowered and equipped to not only gain financial stability, financial freedom, but to really move their lives forward in a bold way?
No, I think it's so easy, I would say as women especially, because I feel like this was my story, to allow assumptions about the way to be the story that gets written about you. And so forever, I wanted to win a Tony. I won a Stevie instead. I mean, I wanted to win a Tony. I wanted to be on the stage. I wanted to entertain my whole life. And through various snafus that have come around, what I realized is I have to constantly be on the edge of learning, like you said, and on the edge of trying things to make the world work for me. If you need me is not a business strategy. It's also a wealth generation strategy. Like if I need money, if I this, if I that, if is just if. And instead, what I'm trying to do and trying to learn in my own specific way is how can I be strategic with what I'm thinking up here before I ever make a plan, before I ever start an action, and really kind of thinking through that action feeling matrix to what am I thinking? What am I feeling? How is it serving me? Does this work for what I'm trying to create in the world? Am I building in the right way? And constantly being willing to change and pivot and try something new if it's not working the way I want it to. I don't want to be stuck in a story. I'm not waiting on Prince Charming to come and rescue me. I'm going to rewrite my own fairy tale in the way that works for me. And I can't wait to help women do that too.
I love that, Suzanne. And that is really what you offer women is that sense of personal agency to take control over not just their financial empowerment, but to truly be equipped and empowered in all facets of their life. And, many women cite money as their number one source of stress. It impacts both their mental and emotional health. And as you know, it can be compounded by factors like inflation, economic instability, persistent gender pay gap. So, Suzanne, how have you seen those kinds of factors impact the people that you serve? And how have you helped women overcome issues related to their own sense of empowerment, related to their own sense of feeling equipped and empowered to not just the financial freedom in their life, but in all aspects of their life?
I love this question. And I want to be truthful and honest. I mean, even when you have enough, whatever that looks like for you, and whatever you're saying that is, whether that's finances or a retirement strategy or an exit strategy or what kind of car you have in the driveway, whatever enoughness means to you, there are still nights you're going to wake up. And there are still nights you're going to be like, oh my gosh, should I do this right? Or did I plan correctly? Or can I fund that in the way that I want to fund that? And I think regardless of whether that means, can I drive through and get McDonald's today for my kids because they really want a Happy Meal, or whether that's I'm going to go help fund a brand new initiative in Africa to help women start their own business, that those decision things, that loop that we get into, the way we get into that loop is the same. The information's different coming in, but the loop and the way that we do that in a brain sense, in a neuroscience sense, it's all the same because it's about the input of information. So the way that I'm seeing that kind of persistent story creep up with my own clients and in my own life is to not stay on a plan. And I know that sounds trite. I know that sounds boring, but the truth is, if you have sat down and said, okay, what am I trying to do? So in the world, with my own finances, my own journey, my family's journey, I have a college kiddo, like, what am I trying to do? And really think strategically about what are all the ways I could get there. So one of the things I take my clients through is let's come up with 50 ways to do the thing. Before we ever decide the way we're supposed to do it, let's just imagine. That's that creative entertainer in me. Let's just imagine all the ways that this could come to be. So yes, I could win the lottery, right? I could also maybe sell a piece of property. I could also go do this. I could also get a loan. Like, there are so many different ways to do a thing. So let's just decide what they are first and then say, okay, how am I feeling about these things? Does one stand out or not? And once we get in line with, oh, I'm feeling pretty good about that one thing, then it's, okay, now what do I have to think to act on that? Notice I haven't said, let's go do the strategy yet. It's more about, I want to feel really empowered. I want to feel like it's the right stuff for me. Then it's, what am I thinking before I ever do anything to stay in that space, to stay in that feeling of goodness, and I'm confident, and this is the right thing for me. And then say, all right, now what does that mean? What resource do I need? Do I need another person to come alongside me? Do I need to go get an education in something? How then do I do those things? It's not always me doing it by myself and deciding the thing first. It's, does this work for me and where I am in life? So I think that's kind of a different way to come at maybe wealth. And so I can't wait to learn strategies once I know how I feel about something, because that's what I need, are the strategies to implement. But I think first we've got to understand what's going on from a physical space and a mental space to really access wealth.
Yeah, so smart. I love that. And I feel like you just synthesized your action orientation in about 2 minutes, in a way that allows everyone to have availability of that incredible wisdom and insight. So your action orientation is really something that is teachable. It's trainable, meaning you can impart the ways to allow women to take action quickly. And you do that in such a beautiful way during the Verve conference and in your coaching and teaching. You help women have a sense of personal agency, have a sense of confidence in order to take action that serves them. And, I would say across the globe, women do contribute significantly to their families, their communities, their economies. And they are givers. These are people who work tirelessly for their family, for their community, and yet they continue to face unique challenges, whether that's achieving financial independence or simply making ends meet. So whether it's because of, again, the gender pay gap, or sometimes it's deeply rooted social norms, sometimes it's cultural attitudes, and sometimes it's limited access to financial education. Sometimes it could be a lack of confidence to actually take action, as you just discussed. I find that women often find themselves at a bit of a disadvantage when it comes to managing their money effectively. So how have you seen that issue, that relationship with money, hinder the women that you serve? How have you seen that impact the people that you serve, their money mindset, their relationship to money? And how do you help them kind of reframe so that they can make money work for them?
I think it's really important for all of us to understand that we were raised in a money story. So we didn't know that at 6 or 10 or 15, that we were really being embedded. And I mean, at a cellular level, what we think about money. So whether it's, I grew up with very young parents and we were on food stamps. And so what I thought about money was there's not enough of it. We had to skimp and save. You need to be very careful with money, but that not enoughness has carried into all kinds of aspects in my life. So my money story early on bled into how I did relationships, how I think about even now when I get a gig, is there enough of that? And so I think understanding culturally that there is a money story that's shared with you. So regardless of what you think wealth is or isn't, I'd be curious for everyone that's listening today to really think, what and how was I raised to think about money? Was I given an allowance? Did I get to spend that allowance on whatever I wanted? Did I need to give some away? Was I taught early? Or was I like, oh, the only time that you get money is when the tooth fairy shows up? So something has to be gifted from the sky for you to have something. And it kind of sounds silly, but if you think about that, that literally does a lot to understand that money dynamic that we're in. And so I think it's interesting in different cultures, those stories that we're bringing into, and when we get to an adult place, we don't always understand that story and how it's still playing out in our everyday. So are you waiting for the lottery fairy to show up as well? Or you're excited when you get some financial gift that you forgot about? Well, some of that's that story because you haven't been planning on it. Maybe you didn't keep your spreadsheet. You didn't ask for the money that you needed. You didn't follow up with your invoice. And so I think it's very careful of us to think deep-seatedly about the generational story that's been given to us and what we need to do, change, and keep before we do anything else.
Suzanne, thank you so much. That was such incredible insight. Thank you. And, I agree that economic empowerment is not just about giving women access to money. It's about helping them achieve agency to control their finances, to be able to help them pursue their own goals and shape their own financial futures. And, at the Women's Wealth Symposium, that's what we're doing together. We're equipping women with the knowledge, the skills, and confidence that they need to make informed decisions about their finances, often through financial education, financial tools and resources, and connection with financial experts. So I have to ask you, what are you most excited about for the Women's Wealth Symposium this March 8th?
I think I'm most excited. One, won't it be wonderful to have 200 some odd women in person, more hundreds online, more hundreds, great grammar, but really focused on how do we create a different story around women, wealth, and the world? Because I just think that if you listen to the news, which how can you escape it? There's the story that is being shared is one of scarcity. And when you can get women together to say, this is not the end of the story. This is not what has to be. There's another possibility constantly. I think that is honestly part of the magic of the Women's Wealth Symposium is there's there's a resource, there's a collaborator, there's a different way. All of those pieces together, when they come come together will help everyone in the room pursue their dream, to really think about shaping destiny, as you talk about, and how then we not only do that for our own selves, but how we pull up others into that reality too, because I don't want to wait on anybody else, like I said earlier, to fix anything for me. So what do I need to do to have agency in the story that I am in and that I'm writing for my future?
Suzanne, you are absolutely going to be a highlight of the Women's Wealth Symposium. I know that your keynote at the top of the day on March 8th is going to be absolutely inspirational and motivational. And at the Women's Wealth Symposium, we are all going to work together to help women take back control of their personal finances and help melt away any kind of money stress. And as we celebrate International Women's Day, you, Suzanne, have generously agreed to advance the cause of empowering women, both in their life, in their career, and in their financial wellness. By striving for a more equitable world, we not only unlock the untapped potential of literally half the population, but we can help cultivate a future where every woman is financially empowered to pursue her dreams and shape her own destiny. So how do you think that something like that might impact the community that you serve, all the hundreds of thousands of women that you've touched, that you coach, that you teach, that you train, that you take on retreat? How do you think that this idea of helping every single woman to feel empowered to pursue her dreams and shape her destiny might impact the community that you serve?
I think one of the great things that not only Women's Wealth Symposium, but LeadHERship Global specifically does is meet people where they are and then say, now we're going to come alongside you to dream bigger. And at the Women's Wealth Symposium, my hope in the room is that the dream agents will all come together. And I can't wait to say, ooh, I got this tidbit from this person, and Deborah Morrison gave me this trick, and then go share that not only with my community, but I have a show launching, and to really get these women that are changing the world and changing the metric of what it means to be a woman in the world right now and get their messaging out. So I really feel like part of the me being in the room is to be a conduit for, let's make sure that we keep up this magic outside Women's Wealth Symposium. Because I think if we want this story to continue, we can't just rely on it just to be the day. We have to say, now the day is the launch of what we're going to continue to do. And so I think that's the best way to not only impact my community, but any community, is to say it's the launch for the next wave. And so that's really what I'm very excited by that. And when you talk about an equitable world, I think that really comes to play, because it then makes it not just about what my little microcosm of the universe means, but we're all on planet Earth at the same time in history. And what are we now going to do together to change not only my place and in it, but the place of, like, my daughter Ava and people that will follow her, and people that, are exiting the world. Like, we all have to do this together to make the world work in a way that I think is sustainable for the future.
Thank you so much, Suzanne. That was absolutely amazing. And we're so happy that all of you have joined this impactful discussion today about advancing the financial freedom for women around the world, provided by LeadHERship Global. If you want to learn more about the Women's Wealth Symposium, simply visit leadhershipglobal.com/WWS event. Please join us to take the next step in your journey to financial empowerment and freedom. Thank you.